All right, team. Remember, if you're in Wellington, we need you to be our experts on this. We need you to weigh in on what's going on, because what it looks like from the outside in with the Wellington City Council and what's going on is old Simeon might have blown his load a bit early, Chewy, making threats and hinting at...
Don't like that phrase.
Sorry, I apologise. Making threats and hinting at intervention, but there's actually a due legal process that you need to intervene, and the way we're hearing it, Wellington City Council has not reached that situation where they've actually committed the offences that would allow a government to step in. So if old Simeon No Mates actually has to end up, we could do a t-shirt with him with a lollipop in the back seat. Just thinking out loud, sorry. Actually has to end up backing down. It will be quite embarrassing, because he's kind of stomped around a bit on this to try and make things work. So there's a story from Stuff tonight.
Wellington City Council has survived another day, but the threat of government intervention still looms large. Councillors emerge from an emergency meeting somewhat more united, but they are no closer to figuring out how to rework their long-term plan, as Mayor Tory Whanau preps for a meeting with the local government minister tomorrow morning. Senior political correspondent Jenna Lynch has the developments.
Wellington's mayor calling her council in for crisis talks.
I think our council is being very proactive in reassuring the government that we're going to be okay, we got this.
The meeting called because the government is not so sure they got this.
There is significant concern about the financial and governance situations in Wellington. I've asked for advice in relation to the legal, in terms of potential interventions.
It all came to a head when the mayor lost a controversial vote to sell the council's stake in Wellington Airport. The council's long-term plan was reliant on it, and the vote got nasty.
So forget the nasty bit. So this is what I'm still reading, and I kind of said this last night. As a part of their long-term plan, how they were going to fund things, how they were going to hit their budgets, was to sell these shares. It sounds like Tory Whanau, because it says that she lost, meaning she wanted to sell them, because she lost the vote. The story just said that. And as she said last night in a release, she's only one vote. Now, because they haven't sold their shares, they're going to need to find the money elsewhere. That sounds like all it is right now. And so for Simeon Brown to go, this is not good enough. You have to rejig your budget. We're going to take you over. It feels heavy-handed. And I'm being a bit careful to make sure I'm not just, oh my God, there's a t-shirt. I need to mark that one. Sorry, a brilliant t-shirt there. And did you see the one I just started?
Yes.
Sorry, this is a very serious subject. And it seems like that's all it is. I'm being careful because I'm not 100% sure. This is still unpacking, but it looks like the Wellington City Council now has to redo their budget. And because they have to redo their budget, Simeon's gone, oh, well, we might have to step in. It's like, what? Hang on, big fella. Hang on, little big fella. Hang on, wee little big fella. You might be a step early. Chewy?
So I have two issues with this, because I did a bit of reading about it today. So it's their draft 10-year plan. And part of that draft plan that they were going to sell the 35% stake that the Wellington City Council has in Wellington Airport, the gateway to their city. It would enable them to have a say in what the airport is doing, right? And they've already sold a parcel of shares to fund work that needed to be done. And then they've had another vote and they've rejiggered it. Now, these guys need to get their draft 10-year plan in by the end of June.
Yeah, June next year.
That's the deadline. So this is hardly crisis point. My second point of this is they found out that the government wasn't happy the same way that we did in the media. Nobody picked up the phone and said, hey, guys, this is looking a little bit squirrely. We need you to pull yourselves into line. They did it in the media. Simeon Brown, 30-year-old with a commerce degree, is just overreaching local democracy, something that the National Party has said is really important. This is democracy. People are voting. Elected people are voting for what they should do in their 10-year plan, which, like many things over that scale, is not locked in stone. And it shines a real light on a problem that a lot of councils have. The only way that they have to raise funds is to sell assets or set rates. Those are their only ways of funding things. Their bacon would have been saved if Three Waters went through.
Yeah.
That would have allowed them to borrow to fix their water. But now it's all out the window. What government campaigned against Three Waters? Our current one, right? So this is on them.
Yep. Fair.
So I don't think that them swooping in, sweeping democracy aside and going, we'll fucking sort it out, Simeon's on the job, that is not a solution.
Yep. All right. Let's see what they've got to say.
I think it was always going to be that tense. It was always going to be that difficult, and it really did bring the worst out of some of us.
Councillor Ray Chung, a vocal opponent of the mayor, imploring the government to hit the nuclear button.
I don't know how serious it is, but I sent a note to Simeon Brown this morning, giving my preference, which is an early election.
You heard him, a snap election.
So talking about
Jesus
going
Christ.
around democracy, not happy, get out of the mayoralty seat.
And make it snappy.
Tomorrow? This Saturday is held on a Saturday, isn't it? Tomorrow will be good.
Today's emergency hui designed to turn the heat.
Without shaming someone, I am trying to work out his top row of teeth there.
This Saturday is held on a Saturday.
Can anyone help me out with that? I was just trying to work it out while I was watching the story. No shade.
Isn't it? Tomorrow will be good.
Today's emergency hui, designed to turn the heat down, turned the volume down on one of Tory Whanau's most vociferous critics.
I think I'm talked out.
Following the meeting, councillors seem to have simmered.
Even the most disruptive councillors, if I can put them like that, were made very positive voices about their willing to work with the mayor and deliver that outcome.
Probably classify it as the most productive meeting we've had as city councillors in this triennium, and I think there was, a lack of ego in the room for once, lack of politics.
Productive is perhaps subjective. The council hasn't yet decided how much it needs to cut from its budget to make up for the shortfall.
So what we've done is we've agreed on a process to arrive at a definitive figure.
And they've got till June next year.
As to how we're actually going to beat that.
The mayor unclear on the deadline for getting her plan back on track.
I think, at the latest, it will be June next year, because that is what's required. But I really hope to come to a solid plan at least by the end of the year and give an indication to the public on where we're heading by the end of the week.
But many not so subtly telling the government to back off.
Oh, it's unacceptable. This is a democratically elected body.
The commissioner is just almost a laugh because there is a threshold. There is a legal threshold that we need to reach for that to happen.
What the mayor's going to bring to the minister tomorrow, any government intervention at that point is politics rather than actually the issue being addressed.
Just note that we have not broken the law. Okay, there's actually no reason.
Which is one possible threshold that they'd step in. Not the only threshold, but it's one possible threshold.
For intervention.
The minister denies he's jumped the gun.
No, I think ultimately there is significant concern.
I think you mean yes, Simeon. Because he's saying this. There is considerable concern. So, Chewy, the obvious question. Who from? Who is where is that concern coming from? There is considerable concern. Who from, Simeon? Who from? That would be my question.
It denies he's jumped the gun.
No, I think ultimately there is significant concern.
Significant concern. Who from, Mr. Brown? Who is it from? Is it from two of the councillors who seem to be complete troublemakers no matter what happens within the chamber? Who from? Because if it was a considerable or significant concern from, 60% of Wellington voters, fair. If a significant concern from one or two people and you're now stuck in a situation where you've shot off a bit quickly, now the situation. So, Mr. Brown, who from significant concern?
In regards to how Wellington City Council has relitigating its entire long-term plan.
You don't know if they've met the threshold for intervention?
Well, I think there was serious concern.
Have they met the threshold for intervention?
We're waiting to receive that advice.
The mayor backing herself to win this fight.
The threshold.
That is not a good stand-up by wee Simeon. That is what did Wold say at the election? That is an indicting non-answer. A pretty serious non-answer. Have they met the threshold for intervention? If you don't say yes, then you've blown off early. I'm just trying to think of more analogies of how to say that, Chewy. I just want to play it one more time. Yep, here we go.
In regards to how Wellington City Council has relitigating its entire long-term plan.
You don't know if they've met the threshold for intervention?
Well, I think there was serious concern.
Have they met the threshold for intervention?
We're waiting to receive that advice.
The Mayor backing herself to win this fight.
The threshold is very high for an observer or a commissioner. I don't think we've met that threshold. However, I can understand if they have concerns, so that's why I'm working collaboratively with all councillors today.
And even another round.
Yes, I committed to run in for another term.
I'll tell you something what I
basically
think
day
about
one
how she's
of
speaking
me
in
starting.
this.
I remain committed. For me,
all eyes now on the Minister-Mayor meeting tomorrow.
I mean, some people would think the word smug as a negative. I think Tory Whanau looks smug there. And I think she looks smug there because Simeon Brown has gone off early. And she's like, oh, yeah, no, you're welcome to share your concerns, wee Simeon. But I reckon she looked very, very comfortable. Didn't seem to show any signs of concern. And I think she knows. Because as they've said, as everyone's been saying, there is a threshold that must be met. It appears it hasn't been met. And I'm saying that because when Simeon was asked the question at least 3 times, the 3rd time his answer was, we're seeking advice on that. So he's got no clue, Chewy.
Yeah, no idea because they don't listen to advice. Yeah, look, I think Wellington Council has the same problem that a lot of councils have, and that people aren't engaged in local politics in the same way that they are with national level politics. So you do get councillors around the table that are fucking boat anchors, and they are there to bitch and moan and not work collaboratively. You get a bunch of people around a table and you get a mayor that is there to run the meetings and cast a deciding vote if it's a hung, but there are always
Lee Vanders.
Lee Vanders. South Island big boat anchor. He's terrible. He's so terrible. I am flirting with the idea of running for council on a single issue ticket that is vote for me instead of Lee Vanders.
There's a rumor that chain that goes between the bottom of the South Island and comes up onto Stewart Island used to be attached to Lee Vanders. There's a rumor about that used to be his.
I had heard that rumor.
Sorry, Chewy. I interrupted your very well thought out position.
But Nicola Young of the Wellington City Council and Ray Chung are their Lee Vandervisses. Lee Chung he ran for mayor, he got beaten. And he hasn't forgotten that. The spin-off article describes him charitably as someone whose mind is malleable depending on who he spoke to last. That does not sound like a high-quality councillor to me.
Look, they're coming in. Nobby Clark, Andrew Bitter.
Look at our collection of boat anchors. Yeah, some of these boat anchors have become mayors. Like Nobby Clark being a great example. People voted for someone called Nobby. So look, I tell you what, chat, look, I'm sure most of you voted in your local body elections. If you didn't, please do. Because some of the most unhinged people are voting for some of the most unhinged candidates around.
Just thinking now, if we've got all these boat anchors in New Zealand and Nikki's looking for some boats, maybe we can connect something together.
No, look, I said something similar to what I was thinking there and it got me banned from Twitter. So I'm not going to say it.